Hi everyone, this is the review video for the additional PFA called Complex and Rational Numbers. And the first sheet here, there's no problems to do. It's just a review of all of our exponent laws. So we have our multiplication law, division law, power law, negative exponent law, and zero exponent law. So we're going to come back to this front side of your paper a lot as we go through some example problems, but really at the end of the day, this additional is all about your exponent laws. So let's go to the back side and look at our first problem. So problem number 1. So you can see that right here, problem number 1. Problem number 1 has actually 2 laws happening here. So the top part is the power law. And that's because the power law has, our parenthesis and our double exponent. So that's going to be the top part of this equation. And then we also have the division law because I see a fraction here. So let's work through this problem. Let's start with the parentheses. So the power law says that we're going to be multiplying our exponents. So when I look at my exponents 2 and 3, if I do 2 times 3, that's going to give me a 6. So I know up top, my new exponent is 6. But please don't forget that this 2 out front is also being raised to the third power. And when this is a normal number, it's not an exponent. So when you're raising something to the third power, that's like saying 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So my new top of my problem is going to become 8x6. Now I still have my bottom here, 4x4. And for this one, we're going to use the division law. So the division law says, and again, you can go back to your laws up here on the front side, but division law states that we're going to subtract our exponents, and just make sure you're always doing top minus the bottom. So 6 minus 4 is 2. And then our numbers out front, these are normal numbers, so we're going to just treat them like normal and we're going to divide. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. So your final answer is 2x squared. Again, this problem is pulled right from the content assessment, so I'd write that down. Okay, problem 2. So problem 2 over here has a bunch of parentheses that you can see, and we're going to have to put all of our like terms together. So problem 2, the only law that's actually happening here is the multiplication law. So nothing else is happening but multiplication law. The big thing with problem 2 is just make sure you're putting the same letters together. So I see I'm going to put all of my x's together, then my y's, then my z's. So multiplication law states that we are adding our exponents. So I'm going to go through here. I'm going to take my first exponent, -4. I'm going to add it with, I know you don't see an exponent with that second x, but there is a 1 there. So it's going to be -4 plus 1 plus 3. If you put that in your calculator, you're actually going to get 0. And whenever you have a 0 exponent, as this law up here says, it's just going to become a 1. So really my x's cancel out. Next, let's look at my y's. So I have my first y here, and then I have another y at the very end. So I know I don't see an exponent, but there is a 1 there. So I would do 1 plus -1, which again is going to equal 0. And then we know that anything with a 0 exponent becomes 1. So the y cancels out. And then lastly, we have our z's. So we have z to the third, and then we have z to the -2nd. We're going to add those. 3 plus -2 is going to be 1. So your final answer for the exponent is z1. The only thing I don't want you to forget about is there was this just normal -2. So that's going to go out front. And this is your final answer, -2z1. Okay, problem 3. So problem 3, it looks a lot like what we did in one step of problem 1, this is all the power law. So we're going to be multiplying our exponents. 3 times 2 is 6. And then just be careful, again, just like problem 1, this is saying a -3, which is a normal number, to the second power. So that would be like saying -3 times -3, which put in your calculator, that's going to equal a +9. So that is your final answer, 9y6. All right, last but not least, problem 4. So this one throws students off a lot of times because if you can see here, it's all letters and no numbers. But this is the division law, and the division law says that we subtract our exponents. So we are just going to look at y to start. And if I would subtract my exponents, I would do m minus n, top minus bottom. And then I'm going to look at my y's. And again, I would do top minus bottom, so a minus b. And this is actually your final answer because there's nothing else you can do with those x or y's or the exponents. So don't let that trick you. Just, still know your laws and then just write it all out, top minus bottom. All right, and then we have one more video after this to talk about these new types of rules called radical form and exponential form.